Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 25th of August, comes to you from London. And we start, as always, by looking at the dollar. Dollar just flatlining at the moment. So we saw the low at the beginning of August. Are we able to just hold this low position? And there is some evidence of some support here, as we've talked about most days. But at the moment, it's fairly flat. And the euro, much the same thing, just the other side of the cloud here, having run, pausing for breath. Is this a continuation and then another move up? Hard to say. We don't have many upside targets on the long-term chart, so it's just short-term targets that we have to play for, really. The Japanese yen, dollar is strengthening here this morning, so we are just seeing dollar just improving slightly. And against sterling, we're seeing sterling has been hitting below this 128 level, but at the moment it is still bearish, but finding a little bit of support on the cloud. And sterling against the euro, having of course made these 8-year lows, still bearish on all three charts, and a new downside target of 104.9. So let's say 104, 105. And so about 3% if we go lower. So if we make new lows against the levels that we saw in the last couple of days, then that's the next downside target. So this move down has given us a new downside target, not yet activated until we move below those lows. But interestingly, on the medium-term chart, we've still got a 9% downside target. On the Swiss franc, we're seeing sterling lower here as well, and on the Aussie dollar, fairly unchanged at about 162, but again looking pretty bearish here, and downside targets activated of about 3.5%. So sterling still not out of the woods. The S&P 500 index was again fairly flat yesterday. US market just really just pausing for breath, and we're seeing the same here on the Nasdaq as well. Just really fairly directionless this last week, and we're seeing here really for the last few weeks markets have just been fairly directionless across August. The Dow also just struggling to get back above the cloud as well, and the Russell 2000 index, of course, we have talked about our concerns that this shows the market falling away quite significantly here, quite a lot of breadth here, and really just coming right back to the levels we saw at the start of the year on the broader market. The future on the S&P is down very slightly, and the Nasdaq E-mini virtually unchanged, so no heads up as to what's going to happen at the open today. FTSE 100 is just back above the cloud, so we are bullish short term here. FTSE 250 also just managing to get back into bullish territory. The DAX also just holding on, and the Nikkei actually coming off the bottom but still bearish on that generally stronger yen. Looking at Hang Seng, moving very strongly upwards here, just nudging new high territory, and the Shanghai market really moving quite significantly. So China is really the success story at the moment. Sensex unchanged here, and the Australian market down very slightly, but really in the doldrums for the last few months, and we see this just by the plethora of targets in both directions. The Australian market really waiting for a break out of this 5758 range, so quite key. The Brent Crude is bullish above the cloud at the moment. WTI is just bearish below the cloud, so quite a mixed picture there. Quite a sell-off there yesterday on WTI, so that's quite key. Natural gas in the US just holding in the 290s, but looking a bit bearish as well. Copper has been the really big story. Copper has actually just moved higher again, so we are seeing real big moves in industrial production as reflected in copper here, so that's looking quite significant. Taking a look at gold, gold is really on a knife edge at the moment, just trying to get back above this 1290 level. We nudged above it yesterday, but just can't hold it. There's quite strong short-term resistance at this 1290 level. We're at 1287 at the moment, and again a fall through 1285, 1280 would be bearish. So just in the short term, it's this 1280, 1290 range that we're focusing on. If we move below the 1280 level, then we activate this downside target. But to be honest, the upside potential is still on there for gold. We're bullish above the cloud on the weekly and on the 60-minute, and we're on the daily, and we're seeing here just how this uptrend and the resistance are fighting each other. But this is looking like a move to the upside. And we, of course, have got this upside target of 620 activated. The 1 minute chart has targets to a similar area, so it does look like gold will eventually break this 1300 level and then start to run. Silver, much the same. Of course, we need to wait for these breaks to actually occur, but when they do, we'll probably see the price move quite dramatically. US Treasury yields sitting below the 2.2% level. Jackson Hole having an impact here. Generally on markets, waiting for any statements out of Jackson Hole. And then Apple still just holding on to its bullish position. Google just managing to get back through the cloud this week, but really short term, just struggling to show any clear direction. We are probably just finding some support here on the lagging line. Amazon not above the cloud yet, so still a bit bearish. And Facebook just struggling as well, was down yesterday quite significantly and is below the cloud. But we still do have lots of medium and medium and long-term targets for Facebook. And Microsoft just holding its support level here as well. So will tech end the week better? Hard to say, just quite a mixed picture at the moment. Keep an eye on those markets. That's it for today. Until Monday, have a great weekend. Happy charting. See you then.